Great understanding and love of Lafayette that we all share. Many of Governor Brown's family members attended our alma mater also. Proud member of the class of 1952, Governor John Y. Brown, Jr.
Tom, I want to make clear I did not know General Lafayette. He was before my time, but I was 6 years old when Lafayette was formed. But it is sort of special to think that Lafayette's the only school in the state, maybe in the country, that graduated 2 former governors. And especially you can tell by the way we're dressed which one was a Republican. Which one was a Democrat. It's exciting to be here and celebrate our lives, you know, because our lives, what we remember the most is our high school years. That's the first time we've become free and independent, make decisions and compete, have disappointment, hopefully find some success. You know, I know Jimmy Whalen has a group of us, 75 to 100, most of us were lettermen back in the old days, and Jimmy was captain of the 1950 basketball champions, and we get together about every 3 months, and it's so great to get together and share Lafayette stories. And the whole hour and a half we're there, we're talking about Lafayette stories because that's the only time anyone's going to listen to us. But when you go back to your high school years, sort of like the old maid that went to confession to confess with sin, and the priest asked her what sin she had to confess. And she said, "Father, I've had an affair with a man." And he asked, "Well, when did this happen?" She says, 30 years ago. And he said, "Well, why do you come tell me about it now?" She said, "I just like to talk about it." So, when it comes to Lafayette, I just like to talk about it. I remember when I went to Lafayette, what I looked forward to the most was sports and girls, you know. Had a car, and I don't know if I had a car, but I, from time to time, had a car. And it was my first time to be out of the house and be free and be independent, and experience I'll never forget. I know in sports, I was on a football team. Bill Sheffield was the coach, and Ralph Carlisle on the basketball team. Wasn't very good. Very seldom got a chance to play, but I competed. And I was involved. I wasn't out there doing things I should be doing. I was in school activities. I was fortunate to be on a golf team with my dear friend and best friend, Gabe Brewer, who won the Masters. Won 3 state championships that I was a part of back in the early 50s. I was on the swimming team, so I stayed active. I learned how to deal with adversity and challenges and being responsible and really growing up. I think you grow up more in your high school years than any other time of your life. In fact, I don't remember learning in college because they didn't teach me what I wanted to learn. They made you learn what they want you to learn here at Lafayette. And so when it came to girls, and looking back, they didn't pay much attention to me. And the truth about the matter is, they weren't very cooperative. And those were back in the old days. But in any event, I learned so much out of Lafayette. And I remember my favorite teachers, Ms. Fisher. We taught English, and Lynn Fisher's mother was a classmate of mine, and Thelma Beeler really gave me my start. And I'd see you at an auditorium, well, very deserving of Ms. Beeler. So she was special. She picked me up. I didn't know what I was capable of doing, but I was searching. And she taught me how to talk. And I've been talking ever since. But she put me in every play, and she put me in contests. I remember one year in Ypsilanti, Michigan, I was runner-up in a national speech contest. And so she really prepared me, but more than anything, she prepared me to have confidence. And it's that confidence I gained in Lafayette High that allowed me to reach out and achieve. And a story that came from a couple of my classmates, Lucian Terrell, and I noticed his son was here today, and Charlie Mulfinger. In my junior year, we were out looking for a job, and we spent a month traveling around various states here where we could find a job. And when I got home, my mother and family in the backyard, she said, "Son, did you get a job?" I said, "Mom, you know, we couldn't find one. The only one we found was a beef factory in Arkansas, and they only paid $1 an hour." And she said, under her breath, she said, "We are not worth that." That really burned me up, and I went to work, and Monday morning I looked at the newspaper, and where do you get a job? And I read an ad about Encyclopedia Britannica, and I was determined. I went in, they gave me a kit for how to sell Encyclopedia Britannica, big old thick book, about 30 of them. And the first weekend, I swear I went out and sold 5 sets of books. I wasn't going to be denied, because I was worth more than $1 an hour, and I made $500 that first weekend. And it gave me realize if you don't work, you don't get paid. And I was a district manager, branch manager, great experience, knocking on doors, getting to meet people, learning how they react. Fortunately, I never got a door shut in my face, and you learn how to deal with all kinds of people. But that experience I'll never forget. And that led me to, later after law school, Colonel Sanders called me. I was on a political TV show with Governor Breathitt at 28 years old, and called me, wanted to hire me. Called me at the station. I didn't know what he did. I was very flattered, but he wanted to hire me to be his lawyer, and I wasn't the kind of lawyer that would fit in, I think, any kind of business. And so I didn't even go see him for 6 months. I didn't know he was wearing a white suit, you know, a little bit different than most of us. And finally, I stopped in, I did visit, and my life changed. And here was a true Kentuckian with a 4th grade education. He said when they're trying to teach X equal to unknown quantity, the time he couldn't go to work. And what a legendary story that he created a concept that changed the eating habits of the world. And what a character he was. In one lawsuit, he was a witness, and the opposing counsel asked him, said, "Colonel, would you explain to the jury the meaning of that colonel that you used before your name and what it means?" And he said, "Well, I don't know, were you a colonel in what war?" He said, "I wasn't in any war." He said, "Well, will you explain the meaning of that title that's used before your name?" And he said, "Well, it means about the same thing that honorable means before your name. It doesn't mean a damn thing." The most famous colonel in the world, a man in a white suit, more famous than anybody else. You know, the way he got his name, he had imagination, he had creativity. And what an honor to be able to work with him. And I found someone with money, became a great partner, Jack Massey, and we were able to buy the colonel and take it out of restaurants and built a company bigger than McDonald's in some 37 foreign countries. So you never know what you're capable of doing until you get a chance. And you get a chance to learn. And I was very fortunate to have just an incredible opportunity. And from there, later on in life, I had in my youth, someday I'd have to go in politics, because my dad spent a career. Started out with Roosevelt in Congress, and ran for the United States 7 times, and so I want to get even. I didn't like politicians, and I want to kick them all out. And fortunately, I married right. Phyllis George, came off our honeymoon, married right the second time. I've married 3 times, and they were all worth it. Put up with me, an entrepreneur, you know, that's no easy job. And, but, you know, you have to be bold like you would be in Lafayette, or you learn to reach out, and not to be politically correct, but to come off your honeymoon with 60 days left and run for governor. We called 119 people. Not one person said we had any chance to win. And so, you know, you learn in life when to compete and when to put your hat in the ring, and it's okay to fail. You know, failure is usually the best pathway to success. And so the greatest honor I have is being governor and to be an independent, to be free. And I'm proud to be able to serve my state. As I've been proud to be a Lafayette general, because it's here where I got my foundation. And I've been fortunate to be in a lot of different fields, whether it's in basketball, but I guess out of Lafayette I became an entrepreneur. And I'm even busy now. Entrepreneurs never quit. We're always reaching. We're dysfunctional. We want to change things. We want to make it better. We want to make it right. And so I take with me great treasure of the experience I had at my great high school. And we're here to give our pride and say how proud we are of the high school that we graduated from. And when you think that Principal Jacobs told us that we have the #1 high scores of our students here, I know what SCAPA meant to my stepdaughter. Changed her whole life. She grew up with a very aggressive sister that always put her at the sidelines, and there's where she got her identity. She found something she could do. All of us, the most important thing you have for your students is to give them self-esteem, some self-confidence they can do something. And out of SCAPA, she rose. She found that she had talent and voice, like they have in all the arts over there in the band and acting, whatever. And now she's an actress down at Disney World. She's 23 years of age. So we can be proud of Lafayette, of all the great people from John Sullivan, Bobby Flynn, Gay Bird, Tyson Gay, Tom Hammonds, Ernie Fletcher. We have on and on. We've created an independent type of person that we're all proud to be associated with. And the fun this weekend is to share all those stories. And as we share those stories, we can stand in pride and we can salute all those teachers, all those administrators, school bus drivers, the cafeteria, all the people that made our life so comfortable and so successful. So on behalf of Lafayette, I thank you. And for you, enjoy the weekend.